Did you get the wine?
Yeah.
You ready? Yeah, let's drink.
Welcome to the Buff First Wine podcast, where we unwind over wine.
We said what we said, and we stand by it. Settle in. So how are you today, Wendy?
I'm good. It's a Sunday again, and it's been a pretty chill day. It's been raining a lot.
Yeah.
So it's been like foggy, just like looking outside. But overall, it's been a really good day, relaxing. Something annoying happened. I had to go to Trader Joe's because I wanted to pick up some wine. Picked up my wine. I was like, oh, this wine is going to go with the pasta that I made. And then I got to the checkout and they were like, oh, can I see your ID? And I searched in my pocket and realized I didn't bring my ID. And that's the one thing about like going digital, because I had my Apple Pay and I was like, okay, I have my Apple Pay. I don't need to take anything more.
Right.
And that really fucked me over. So I came home very like grumbling on my way home. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, but I was able to pick up some other wine, even though it was more expensive. But other than that, I'm good, other than being a little sad that I wasn't able to get the wine that I wanted. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually super tired today. Yeah, for the past like 3 days, I haven't been sleeping because my dog has been sick. And because he's been sick, I have been getting up every couple hours, taking him outside. And yeah, I just really am tired because I have been up every hour, it seems like, taking him outside. So yeah, get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. But yeah, so that's how I'm feeling. I mean, it's still a good day, but I just know I just need one more day to rest.
I know, right? I really wish I could get one more day. I have a flight I have to catch tomorrow, and I am dreading it because I just want to sleep and just not do anything.
Yeah. How long is the flight?
I think like 2 hours. It's not that long, but it's just a thought of like packing, getting ready, getting my dog situated. I'm really like dreading that whole everything really about. And that's funny because I think this year has been a very weird year for me in terms of traveling. Mm-hmm. Last year I traveled a lot and I enjoyed it, but I've sort of been in a very weird space this year where it's like whenever I have to travel, it feels like a chore in a way.
Well, is it because it's been like more work related?
No, I don't think so. Because I could also still find, joy in like little things, like, like when I travel. I honestly think that I started to notice that after I got a dog, like, because
there's so much
having to like figure out, okay, what do I do with him? And like, it just puts me off travel. So this year I actually didn't travel a lot at all. And a lot of people have been asking me like, oh, you didn't go anywhere a lot this year. And I'm like,
so unlike you.
I just can't. But it's like, it'll be like that next year because I'm going to figure it out. But I'm definitely taking a break this year.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you need that time to recharge and just, sit down and process your thoughts about like, okay, where I'm going next. And, let me just sit down and enjoy my city for a change because Chicago is pretty great. So it wasn't a total loss, but it would be better to be somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess. It's fine, but I'm definitely looking forward to not having to just like doing more things. Like this year felt very, what's the word that like when you're just like stuck doing the same thing over and over again?
Mundane.
Yeah. This year felt very mundane to me. So definitely looking forward to changing that next year. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad mundane. It was just like, just saying shit over and over. And I'm a kind of person that I like
change.
I like change because I get bored easily. I get bored with things easily. I get bored with, if I stay at a job for too long, I get bored. If I do, like, I'm just, if I have the same hair for too long, I get bored. Like, I'm just a very, like, I want to, like, change it up, like, very fast. So definitely looking forward to that.
Okay. Yeah, well, luckily for you, 2024 is literally in less than 3 weeks? So you'll be able to change it up and you'll be able to really start traveling and getting your travel plans in order for the upcoming years. So that'll be cute.
It'll be nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So to switch gears today, Wendy, what are we drinking?
So we're doing something different today. Originally, as I said, going to Trader Joe's, I wanted to pick up something entirely different, and I guess this will have to do. But I wanted to pick up this Italian wine that goes really good with pasta. Mm-hmm. However, I ended up picking up, I really don't know how to say this name. It's a high altitude wine from Greece.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. If I try to say this name, you're going to laugh because
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Acetico.
Ooh, okay. Let me look at it. Turn it around. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Well, I was going to say if you could see the wine bottle, but you're going to see it because if you're following us on Instagram, and you should be, you know that after every episode, we post a picture of the wine that we drank the night before. So you're going to see the bottle. And when you see it, it's going to be a bunch of letters that go next to each other that shouldn't go next to each other. Like they don't make any sounds.
I was like, do I say the first two and then the last two? Like,
these letters don't even like connect in the alphabet, but it works, I guess.
But I think it's by a company called Kurjani. So I could say that. Yeah, it actually is bottled at Kurjani.
Okay.
It's a dry white wine, and it's actually interesting. It says it's grown at an altitude of 700 meters in northwest Greece.
Okay.
That's interesting. Doesn't really give you a lot of information about what it will be good to pair with.
Right.
But I think as I drink it, it definitely has very acidic taste.
Yeah, lots of tannins.
I don't know how I feel about.
Yeah, I know.
Very tangy.
Yeah, I liked it though. I enjoyed it. Like, I feel like we had, prior to jumping on for the show today, we had some pasta, and I think it paired well with it.
What do you think about my pasta?
It was good. It was hot. Wendy, okay, let me
It wasn't
shut
hot.
up.
It was not hot.
How are you going to,
because you don't eat spice.
You can't tell me how my taste buds interacted with the food.
But I can, because your level of eating something hot is like bottom.
I like hot though. Like, I enjoy it.
Recently.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Wendy had a ramp up process with me when it comes to
feel like
spice.
I always do that too with everyone. With like every single of my friend, like they have a period where
they don't drink.
Oh, it's too hot. It's too hot.
And then they build a tolerance.
I do the tolerance.
That's definitely a prerequisite to be Wendy's friend. You have to eat spicy food. And I used to attribute spicy food to like hot Cheetos and shit.
Oh my God.
That is
the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Okay, so let me tell you this. This is just a quick story time. But me and Wendy and a large group of friends, we went on a lake trip. And we had a beautiful lake house, and it was fun. And we had a bunch of ladies there, and all of them could cook, so it was amazing. So we got a bunch of groceries, and they all was cooking spicy shit. And I was like, oh my God, like, how do y'all expect me to eat this? Like, it's so hot. One of our friends, shout out to Miriam. She's somewhere fat and pregnant right now. She's so cute. But she made this pepper soup, which is, I guess, a Nigerian delicacy that y'all love. It was fire. Like, it was so good. I still remember it. But when I tell you it was so hot, it was so hot. I'm like, y'all eat this shit?
To you.
Whatever. Y'all eat this shit every day?
Not every day, but it definitely is like an appetizer.
Come on.
Like, you eat it because it like opens up your stomach.
Why would you want that?
Because you eat it to get more food later. It's like an appetizer.
And it's good to have food that like clears you out.
Pepper.
Whatever.
Soup.
Well, anyway, I'm just letting you know that if you want to be Wendy's friend, you have to go through a whole initiation process. If you listen to our friendship episode, you have some familiarity of what that process is. But in addition to everything we said in that episode, you also, the very last step of the triathlon that she puts you through to be her friend, you have to eat that spicy shit.
Yes.
And you have to be able, and if you so much as breathe in or suck your tongue, you're out.
That's not true. I don't care if you do. But no, that's definitely a prerequisite because it's like, I like to cook for my friends. Like, I like to
and
cook
I love to intake the food. She's always cooking and inviting me over.
I'm always cooking some shit.
She is.
But yeah, I love to cook, but I definitely love to eat spicy food as well.
Yeah. So we're having a good time. We have had about 2 glasses. And today we're talking about a rather fun topic. So just to preface this topic, prior to jumping on, we watched a documentary about wealthy white elites, and it got us thinking along the lines of the rich auntie syndrome that's going around on social media and in the family dynamic right now. And we're just talking about, you know, as we enter our 30s and now, you know, we're in the beginning of our 30s, we are stepping into our rich auntie phase of life, and we're just excited about what that has to come. And it's also interesting because I'm sure if you have a phone, you see on social media, like what that has transformed into now. Like it's a whole movement. So yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So I guess to kick off the conversation, so what was your definition of the rich auntie growing up? Did you have a rich auntie figure? What did that look like for you?
Great question. I have to think about this a little bit.
Sure.
I definitely did. I definitely had like a couple of like rich aunties, either those that I knew personally or those that I heard about, right? Mm-hmm. So I think like growing up in Nigeria, my mom growing up, she would tell me stories about her rich aunties, like when she was growing up, right?
Yes.
So I remember very distinctly when my mom was sort of just finishing high school, she went to live with her older brother in like the city. It wasn't the main city, so she went to live in the city, which is in Lagos.
Okay.
And one of the things, she had this auntie that was married. So she was actually married to my uncle.
Okay.
But she was a rich auntie in terms of like, she was one of those aunt that she traveled all the time to London.
Yep.
Like she was going to Italy all the time. Like
Oh, your auntie was rich.
Oh yeah, she was great because she sold. She used to sell gold. So like, she used to sell like jewelry.
Say less.
Yeah, so she was great. But it's funny because my first definition of auntie is actually like a married woman that all the kids were grown already, and she was just living her life.
Yes.
Like she was just going everywhere. Like when she's coming back, she just buy hella shit because my mom lived with them, so she got to sort of like see and experience firsthand all of this. So I think that's like sort of like my first of like, she would tell me so many stories about her, like how she dressed, like the people that she knew, like and the kind of group that they have, because they always sort of like, those kind of people, like they walk in groups.
Yes.
Like they have their group of friends where like they go to parties together. They're always so like, just like exquisite in a way. But for me, growing up, I also had like rich aunties that most of them were more about like traveling a lot, but they were very adventurous. So I had like aunties that will just sort of, they call me on the phone, right? Or call my mom, because I didn't really have a phone, at least that young.
Right. I get it.
She'll call my mom and be like,
I know what you mean.
Where are you now? I'm like, yeah, I'm in Italy. You were just in Lagos like last week. Like, what do you mean you're in Italy? So I grew up a lot around like people like that, especially women that I felt were very confident, very adventurous, and they did not give one fuck about what people would say, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think that was sort of like my first. I don't have any particular one, but I have multiple where it's like they had a very different way of life. And the times where it shows the most was like when we would have parties, because being from Nigeria, we party a lot.
Okay. So, I know that. That's one thing I picked up on.
Exactly. We party a lot. So going to parties, like you see them come through in the most elegant, just dripped in like gold and like jewelry. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's my aunt. Just giving me money and shit. Like just like regular aunt shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be like you when I'm older.
Yes. It's so funny because I knew that there would be some sort of like cultural difference just because your family grew up in Lagos and I grew up here, but it's literally the exact same experience. So I have 2 rich aunties that come to mind, and they are still very rich now. And one in particular, she lives here in Chicago. She's the reason I'm in Chicago. Like, I would come to Chicago as a kid and see how she was living. And I would be like, are you kidding me? And she was single at the time. She's married now. She's been married for like 15 years. But at the time, she was single. And we were close. And she would come get me anytime. Cause she had the freedom and she didn't have any kids. So she was like, yeah, what are you doing? Okay, I'm going to come get you for a week. Like, I would be here for spring break. Right. I would be here like any weekend. She would just come get me. And she lived in a high-rise downtown in like the early 2000s when Chicago was like still very much dangerous. Like when they had Cabrini Green. And it's funny enough, West Loop, what West Loop is now, she lived there like in the early 2000s, like 2002, 2003. So at that time, West Loop was still very sketchy. It was very dangerous back then. And she would have me up in her apartment and she would go to work and I would just be finding shit to do on my own while she would be at work. And I would be like, this city is cool as hell. Like, she rich as fuck. Yeah. Like, she would always be out of town. And she would be in some pretty exotic places with her girlfriend. Like, the shit that we do now. Right. She was doing that.
Like, a long time
ago. She would be like, I would call my aunt. And then, this is back in the day. So her voicemail would have a message like, sorry, in Mexico. Sorry, I'm in Hawaii. Sorry, I'll call you back. Like, it was amazing. Yeah. And she's definitely someone I look up to for sure. Just because she was so swaggy. And she still is very much so swaggy. Like, she just dressed impeccably. Like, she holds herself so... You know, like that rich auntie vibe is just, it's a thread in our Black community. Like, you can't really explain it, but when you see one, you know
one. You're like, oh, okay, yeah.
You know.
I definitely see it. Yeah, it's definitely like a vibe and just the way they carry themselves. Yes. They have this very, I'm just here to live life.
Yeah, they don't be giving a fuck.
Like, they don't give a fuck a lot.
I remember when I was young, and I mean really young, I was probably still in grade school, my aunt was engaged at the time to like some some NBA player. And I just thought that was cool. You know what I mean? Like, to be fair, he wasn't Michael Jordan, but he was still in the NBA.
And I was like,
this is some hot girl shit that we don't talk about. Like, before
hot
that
was started before hot girl shows.
Right. And I was just like, this is so cool. And I used to really like him too. Like, not to say like getting a high profile man makes who you are, but it was just to see like how they was living. Like they would be going places and doing stuff. And yeah, that was really cool. So that was my first introduction to like the rich auntie growing up. And yeah, it's funny because we are entering that age. Like the stuff that we are talking about when we were seeing for our aunties, we are officially that age now in our adulthood. So it's funny seeing how that rich auntie movement changes like through the generations. And now we're like defining it differently based on like social media. Like there's memes now about the rich auntie.
It's a whole vibe. Like you see caption like, in my rich auntie era.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Like, what does that mean exactly? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the word has definitely been reinvented a lot. But I think when you still see one, you know immediately. Like, okay, this is somebody's rich auntie.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's really cute. As we're entering that age, it's interesting to try to figure out, like, if we want to be a rich auntie, or is there any negative connotations that come with the rich auntie? I can't think of any.
So, actually. I think I
want to hear them.
Well, I don't know if I should call it negative, but I think the one we just talked about is a very good example where now it's being reinvented into, in order for you to be a rich auntie, it means that you don't have kids of your own in a way. Like, it's like you've decided like, oh yeah, I'm not going to have kids.
Is that negative?
Not really. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's like negative or not, but I think rich auntie is very much dependent on the stage you are in your life and less on if you have a kid or if you don't have a kid, right? Because like you said, like your aunt before she was single at some point, but now she's married. Yeah. And she's still a rich auntie.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't change based on like, okay, do you decide to get married or you don't get married? Yeah. It changes based on
how you live
are and how you live at that particular stage in your life. But I think right now with how the aesthetic is, it's very much dependent on like,
how do you dress?
Yeah.
That doesn't
know what I
mean.
mean? Yeah. Like, how do you dress? Or like, like, I'm just going to be single forever, which is not a bad thing, but I just think it could be both things at the same time. Yeah,
that's fair. And you bring up a good point. So I said I had 2 rich aunties. I have another rich auntie, and she is like, okay, so my first rich auntie is a rich auntie, but this auntie, we gonna call her a wealthy auntie. Like, she is beyond rich auntie.
Let's make that distinction. Yeah. There's a rich auntie, and then we have the wealthy auntie.
This auntie is crazy because I just talked to her yesterday. Like, I keep up with her, and let me just break down her life. She's like 70, she's in her mid 70s. Mm-hmm. Can't tell her nothing. She still be traveling to this day. And she been married her whole life. She got married early, had kids. She's still married.
Exactly what I'm saying.
She got married and she got divorced, and then she got remarried. And her second marriage which she's married to now, they've been married for like, they've been married all my life. So like 30 years. Mm-hmm. He's the only husband I know of for her. And she ain't never worked. Her husband owns like a car lot. They're retired early. She retired in her like 50s. And
she's just been traveling ever since.
She's been traveling.
That's exactly what I mean.
She bought a summer house. She says it to me all the time. I am a kept woman. I do nothing.
Love it.
I don't cook. I don't clean. He waits on her hand and
She
foot.
is living the life.
Like, he waits on her hand and
She's
foot.
living the life.
And she tells me all the time, like, in her first marriage, she was Mary Poppins. She was doing all the things that she thought a wife had to do.
Right.
And she was like, you know what? I gave you the kids. I kept the house. I had the job. And my second marriage, I ain't doing none of that. Because I know my value as a woman don't have anything to do with any of those things.
If you love me, you love me.
Right.
And you're going to show it in the way that you know how to show it.
Exactly. Yeah. And when I literally was talking to her yesterday, and she was she's so funny for her age. She was like, yeah, I got to keep it 100. She's 70. She's literally like 74.
I'm pretty sure she probably has been on her life. Like, just keeping it right.
She be telling me stories about how in the 70s they used to party, and she seen somebody doing cocaine in the bathroom. Like, my OGs are like hilarious. Mm-hmm. As you would imagine, it had to come from somewhere. Right. But like, when I say goals, goals.
I think that's a very fair point, and goes back to like the point I was making before of like, it's not a rich auntie. It's a vibe. It's not necessarily
how
about
you look,
how you like who you are, like how you live, like are you married, are you single? It's really not about that. It's really about
energy,
your vibe, like how, like if I look at you as someone that, you know, not necessarily my biological mother, right? Do you give me that vibe of like a rich auntie? Yes, then yes, that's what you are.
And I'm happy you said that, because social media has this microwavable formula about everything. So naturally they have one about the rich auntie. Mm-hmm. And the rich auntie, you carry a YSL bag, you got all the Louboutins, that's not a rich auntie. The rich auntie, my definition of the rich aunties that I have that steward over me, these women are like confident times 20.
Confident. That's my, if I had to describe, a rich auntie, it's confident, don't give a fuck, rich.
Yes.
That's the 3 things. That's independent.
Yes.
Those are like the things that I would say if I had to describe, like, what does a rich auntie mean to me?
It ain't got nothing to do.
And that's what I'm trying to be.
Right. I'm absolutely trying to be a rich auntie. I don't know what the future holds as far as like family and kids and all of that, but my vibe to the day I die, I wanted to exude the rich auntie. Like, the rich auntie is confident as hell, sexy as hell, kind as hell. That's something else. Like, my aunt,
they're the ones that you feel like you can have conversations that you necessarily wouldn't have with your parents.
Right.
With. Yeah.
Right. And then they look after you in a way that is so heartwarming. It's like, I love that for us as Black women growing up, because, you know, like, we need our own little support system that is just for us, I think. You know, like, it takes a village to raise people, you know, women and men alike, but we go through different types of, hardships that only another Black woman can relate to. So we have our mom for some things. We have our aunties for other things that our moms necessarily can't teach us. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Love it. And I want to be a rich auntie to someone else. I have nieces and nephews of my own, and hopefully they can see me as a rich auntie figure one day.
Yeah. I think the only one that I think I do agree with in terms of like social media that I'm looking forward to is those outfit that rich aunties wear.
Yes.
Like those like big and like baggy and just swaggy like fit that you look at them and you're just like, oh, she's rich.
Yes.
Like the outfit that gives off like rich vibe, not Sheen vibes or like not, you know what I mean?
Right. I know exactly what you mean. I'm sure we're going to talk about fashion in another episode, but we can lightly touch on it with like the rich auntie aesthetic has nothing to do with like labels and Gucci this, Prada that. Like, it's about how they put that shit on.
Together.
It's about how they coordinated. They understand their body shape and they know how to make shapes with their clothes. Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about, like, anybody could put on a designer outfit and it could look like shit. That's not what having style is. The rich auntie, just carries herself in a way where she just know, like, I have my own sense of style. I'm finna put this shit together in a way you ain't never seen it. And it's finna be fire. Yeah. And you can expect that every time.
Yeah, that's definitely my life goal. Like, how can I become the rich auntie? And I think I'm well on my way. So, glory be
absolutely.
to God.
Absolutely. Prior to us jumping on, obviously, we talk about our topics before we actually jump on. And I asked Wendy, so, like, how do you think your rich auntie journey is going or some shit? And she was like, I'm not there yet. I'm like, what? You're not there yet. You are very much a rich auntie.
I don't think I am. I don't think I am. You are very much a rich auntie. Let's park that because I don't agree with that.
You don't have to agree, but you definitely are. When you look,
if you say I give off that vibe, then yeah, I'm like, okay, that's great, but I don't know if I am yet.
It's crazy. I was gonna say 10 years, but we can cut that in half. In 5 years, when you look back on this part of your life, you're gonna be like, I was on some like, rich auntie shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You absolutely are. So
that's good. I love that. I love that for me.
Yeah, you definitely are. So, I guess as we wind down today, the topic that we want to discuss a little bit more about is like, what has a rich auntie taught you? And what are you looking forward to now that we're entering our rich auntie phase?
What am I looking forward to? I think for me, okay, so recently, actually, about not even up to a week, I became a godmother.
Yay!
For
congrats.
The first time ever. It's I'm still trying to process it, but I think that's sort of like one of the steps that is now making me think through, okay, like what does it mean to be like an auntie, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm also going to I'm going to have like a niece soon. So I'm super excited about that as well. And just like going from like 0
to 2
within like 4 months of each other is going to be crazy. But I'm really looking forward to being able to, I think as Black women and as like young Black women, looking forward to like instilling the confidence that I feel like young Black girls need.
Yes.
And just like young Black girls and boys like that they need. I'm really looking forward to that. I think for me, obviously like the money is going to help me instill that because then I can spoil them as much as I want to. And then they can see that, yes, I deserve love. I deserve
nice things.
Being spoiled. I deserve nice things from people that love me. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Like being able to instill like that confidence in like the younger people that will be looking up to me, but also being able to spoil them. One of the things that I'm looking forward to the most is being able to take vacations
with them.
Oh,
you taking it to another level.
Yes. Like, just like, I don't even want the parents to come. Hold it. I'm going.
crying.
I'm going.
And I'm taking them with, I'm sure they will not oblige.
Yes. And I'm taking them on a vacation, a weekend, a week. Like, I don't care. But, I'm really looking forward to that.
Also, I want to say, you say that now, but kids are a handful. That baby.
I'm not talking about babies.
Oh, okay, you gonna wait till they get older.
Oh, okay. I'm not talking about when they're 3, 4, 5. No.
Oh, like when they're well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because then I'm gonna also have more money to spend on them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's really nice.
So, throwing the question back to you, what as a rich auntie taught you, and what do you look forward to entering your rich auntie era?
Yeah, so what has a rich auntie taught me? Great question, because there are so many lessons, so I can just like pull out of a hat. But one of the most prevalent, I guess, would be just taking care of yourself. Like, it's certain things that apply to Black women only that you can't really learn from society or from TV. You know what I mean? Like, you have to learn it by seeing another woman do it. And they've taught me a lot about just taking care of yourself and what that means and how your experience may differ from other women and how to tailor taking care of yourself to your own experience. You know what I mean? Like, I think they've taught me a lot about being independent and making sure that if no one else got you, you got you. Like, you know how to keep yourself together and keep yourself independent no matter what's going on around you. So that's definitely like something. A lot of the time, our rich aunties harp on having money because our society runs on money. But outside of that, you need to know how to be emotionally well. And I want to pass some of that along so that we can be like whole in that sense. Money won't solve everything. You have to know how to be emotionally well too.
I like that. That's very fair. But yeah, I think as we sort of like step into that, I feel like it's a new era too. And it's like, and I don't know if that's just like life generally, but you don't necessarily know when it's going to start or like when it starts. But when you're in it, you know that you're in it of like, okay, like I'm in this era where I'm prioritizing myself. I am prioritizing like the people that I care about the most.
Right.
And I actually have the funds to do the things that I want to do for either my loved ones or for myself as well.
Yeah.
And with that comes confidence, and with that comes just feeling more free in terms of the things that you're capable of. So I'm looking forward to that as I grow up. Not like I'm not grown yet, but
yeah, you know, it's levels to being grown.
Yeah.
So
I think as I sort of like go into my 30s, that's definitely one of the, and that's the thing. I feel like also, I know we're sort of like rounding down, but like we were saying before, like even in your 30s doesn't necessarily mean that's when your rich auntie vibe starts. It could be in your 30s, it could be your 40s, it could be your 50s. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can have that vibe depending on where you are at your particular time. So it's not about time is running out, but more about how are you working towards what you want to get to, regardless of what age you are. So that's my part in.
Yeah, and it's a good one. Yeah, definitely as the rich auntie movement takes a different shape with social media